Hey fellow Vault Wearers, it's Angry Turtle, and today we have a full guide for Gauss rifle. Then without further ado, let's start how you can get your own Gauss rifle. Unfortunately, there is no free one to grab anywhere in the world that I know about. Some enemies, especially Scourge Beasts, can occasionally drop it, but best way to get one is to go into the Watoga shopping plaza and buy the plan from a vendor. A plan is quite expensive, but that's like the best way to obtain it, and you need to be at least level 35 for the vendor to sell you the plan. Then that's how you get it. As well, from this vendor you will get plans for night vision scopes, as those are free plans that you can buy for this weapon, for the modifications. In order to unlock other modifications, you will just need to craft a lot of Gauss rifles and then scrap them. In case of crafting, if we are talking about crafting, there are some perk requirements and some other things you should know about. You can find it under energy guns, and here you have Gauss rifle. You can craft level 35 or level 45, and you can reduce the cost. If you equip Science Expert rank 2, you will reduce this cost. Then don't forget, if you want to mass craft it for scrapping for mods, equip Science Expert rank 2, regular Science rank 1 to have ability to craft, and Super Duper. That's the easiest way to obtain modifications. And now let's jump straight into what are those modifications that you can equip and which one are worth using. Then we are starting with the barrel, and there is quite a wide selection of barrels. What I would recommend, if you want accuracy and if you will not be using in VATS, then I will go for a True Mods. True Mods offer incredible accuracy. It's usually states just a hip fire accuracy, but it actually improves both hip fire and scope accuracy. Then it's always a good choice for accuracy. If you will be using it a lot in VATS, then same situation like other rifles, align stuff is the best. And of course you go for the highest possible range, and in case of Gauss rifle it's always shielded. Either align shielded or true shielded. If you really want to, you can go for stabilized, but I don't think it's beneficial in case of this weapon, as fire rate is rather slow. And next we have the stock, and the same situation about the stock with only this one mention. For VATS you can use forceful stock, you will get cheap VATS and much bigger condition bar. Then that's worth to mention in here. Apart from that, the same situation. After that we have capacitors. It's a little bit more interesting here because you have perforating capacitors that will offer you, of course, armor penetration, and in the same set of mods you will have a prime capacitors, what means it will offer you higher damage and even higher damage versus Scourge and Scourge Beast, but no armor penetration. Then generally it's choice between perforating capacitors and prime capacitors, with honorable mention going to swift capacitors in case you will have already like anti-armor Gauss rifle and perforating capacitors will be overkill, and if you don't want prime capacitors, then yeah, swift capacitors will reduce VATS cost and increase ammo capacity, what's really beneficial. Other capacitors not really worth it. After that we have scope, and there is a lot of stuff you can equip. Of course, reflex sight will be for you if you are going for VATS usage. Other than that, any scope that you really like, as there is like not much to say in here. I like short scope, but that's my personal preference. After that, we can equip suppressor. Of course, if you want to sneak around, suppressor is a must. Otherwise, if you don't sneak, you don't need any muzzle, but yeah, there is not much benefit. As you can see, the range is barely changing, like 210 range with suppressor, 228 without any muzzles. Then like you cannot go wrong equipping suppressor on your Gauss rifle. And of course I have residential paint on it, otherwise it will look like that, very rusty. Then I have it a little bit refurbished. And now ammo for this weapon. You will find it under energy ammo and it's 2mm cartridges. As you can see, the cost, it's not the worst one. It's a single fire weapon, then 15 cartridges for 15 steel, 5 lead. Before equipping any perks, that's a not bad value. And if you'll be using as a sniper, then even the weight will be okay. The weight is reduced by intelligence perk called batteries included, and I have this perk equipped. Therefore, yeah, without this perk, it will be heavier. But still, not the worst scenario if you are using it exclusively as ammo for the Gauss rifle and not, for example, ammo for minigun type of Gauss weapon. Then it should be fine. The cost will be fine. If you want to go for ultra sight ammo though, you need to know that weight will go higher. It's twice as heavy. For whatever reason, ultra sight 2mm ammo is twice as heavy as regular 2mm ammo. And of course, cost is going down if not counting the fact that you need to spend stable flux. Then it's either going down or up. That all depends how much flux you have in your pocket. Now, that being said, some basic info about the weapon. As you can see, the magazine size is rather small, as you can have only 5 shots per reload. Then yes, it's small, but what is good about this weapon? Very high damage output, like one of the best from the all sniper weapons and silent weapons. This is the king. This is the highest damage, although you need to know it's not as high as it looked like, because damage you can see here includes 15% of this damage is explosion, as those weapons are natively explosive, even if it's not a legendary. Even if it's not a legendary, it's natively explosive, but explosive radius is small. What means if you are, for example, aiming for a super mutant head, you will have 0 damage from explosion, as how explosive mechanics in this game is working. After Bethesda will fix Grenadier perk, you will be able to use Grenadier in order to have this explosive damage even when aiming for the head. But at this moment, in the current state of the game, you cannot get any benefit from this explosion unless you aim low, like for legs, but then you lose benefit of shooting into the head. Then yeah, that's a really weird scenario that we are having in here. Apart from that, the fire rate is stated here high, but it's not true, because you need to charge it in order to do any damage. You need to fully charge it, what means you will have less than 1 shot per second. Then, yeah, that's not the actual fire rate. The actual fire rate you are expecting, it's around 10 or slightly below 10. Range is great, accuracy is great, and it's heavy like every weapon in this game. Now let's discuss some legendary and how it works in combat. The good thing about range of this weapon, then you can even get a sneak attack while wearing power armor because of how high the range is. And you can see by the torso shot I can take out half health of the super mutant. How am I missing? I think I'm somehow hitting those tires. Now I hit him. You can see 2 shots on this super mutant and I'm in power armor, 1 shot on the doggo. And I'm still in caution just because how far away I am from this super mutant. And headshot 1. And it's worth to mention, I am using non-legendary Gauss rifle without any build supporting it really. I only have tank killer, nerd rage to support my damage, and basically my mutations to support my damage further. There is no rifleman perks. There is no other perks that can increase my damage, and I'm not using it in VATS. You can of course use it in VATS, but what this weapon is the best for is sniping from far away, taking out your enemies one by one. It's how it's used the best, and the most fun come from this weapon. About the possible legendary perks, any prefix that will increase your damage is good, and I would not recommend anything like, for example, Vampire, because as you can see, we are just shooting slowly, as you need to fully charge it. But now I missed this guy. And now headshot, 1 shot. And if you charge hip firing, you can see the numbers on the weapon, and you need to go to 99. That's where it does the damage. if you don't charge it, I will try to shoot one super mutant without charge. You can see it's like 0 damage. The explosive damage is still there, but impact damage is gone. If you don't charge, impact damage is gone. About the second star, of course, if you are using it as a sniper, something like damage while aiming will be great. And if you are using it in VATS, the crit damage or VATS hit chance will be probably the best. About the third star, there is nothing really important on the third star that you need with this weapon. Therefore, yeah, it's up to you if you have any specific requirements. For example, faster crit, if you don't have enough luck, can be useful, or cheaper VATS if you are using it in VATS. If you are not using it in VATS, faster reload will be recommended from me. And if you want to use this weapon to fight bosses, you can, and there is a simple trick how you can increase the DPS. You will need to use VATS though. I will demonstrate on one super mutant, but generally you don't want to do it on regular mobs, only on bosses, because of how bosses damage mitigation works and how it doesn't work when you have VATS critical. Therefore you will aim for the guy, you will quickly shoot until your crit is charged, and then when you have crit charge, you will fully charge the weapon and crit the enemy. And then you will just quickly tap the button until you have your crit back. And optimally you will have enough luck to get the crit every second shot, what means you will just, I have no VATS, you will just charge once every second shot. Then that's the strategy that can be used versus bosses. And if you have true stocks and true barrel like I have at this moment, you can see even a hipfire accuracy is really good even when I'm moving, what means I can easily just hit them up close without worry about aiming too much or missing my shots, as I can hipfire at them or aim down the sight. I think this weapon is perfect if you don't want to use VATS. If you want to use VATS, there are way better weapons. I didn't hit him hard enough, he survived. No, he didn't. And his friend... No, again torso hit. It's hard to get a headshot while jumping. Even Doggo survived. Okay, now everyone is dead. Mission accomplished. I hope you enjoyed this guide for the Gauss rifle. That's one of my favorite weapons. Whenever I go for a sniper build, this is a definite choice, definite king of every sniper. Ability to one-shot with a headshot almost any enemy you can encounter in Appalachia is great, apart from the big creatures that are super tanky, but any regular enemy is a one-shot, even if you don't have a good weapon. And that will be everything you really need to know about the Gauss rifle. If you still have any questions, please let me know. And now, as always, thank you a lot for watching and see you guys in the next one.